Esteemed guests, we hope you've been enjoying your delicious breakfast. To kick off the next part of our program, please welcome to the stage Orange County Mayor Jerry Dennings.
Buenos días, mi amigos. Soy el alcalde de Condado de Orange, Jerry Dennings. Welcome here to our wonderful community. I'm honored to welcome you on behalf of the 1.5 million people who call Orange County home. As we begin, let me just say to you that this is a historic season for us here within Orange County. I have the privilege of serving with the Board of County Commissioners, and we have, for the first time, we have 3 Latinas who are members of the Board of County Commission. Commissioner Myra Uribe, Commissioner Maribel Gomez Cordero, and Commissioner Emily Bonilla. I'm not sure if any of the commissioners are here, but if they are, well, stand and kind of wave your hands at this time. Let me just double check. Okay, I don't want to make those Latinas mad, you understand? But also, we are really elated to have the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce here. And I said to your president that we're happy for many, many reasons, but one of them is because you bring mucho dinero into our community. Our community has about 32% of the population who identify as being of Hispanic descent. That is a historic high as well. And so within Orange County government, we are a government of over 8,000 employees, and we have 11 different departments, and 3 of the largest departments are headed for the first time by Hispanics. One, the largest department that we have within Orange County is headed by Chief Luis Quinones. We then have our utilities department headed by Ed Torres. And then lastly, our health services department is headed by Dr. Raul Pino. And so I think that's worthy of some applause today to have that kind of senior leadership. Now, I'm joined today by one of my special assistants, Ms. Ilia Torres. Perhaps you have met her at this point. Ilia just happens to also be an attorney. She works very well on our staff. She's integrated in our team here within Orange County. They are part of the host committee. We get to work with the Metro Orlando Chamber of Commerce here. Ms. Gabby Ortegani, you have met, and she's playing host. What a wonderful relationship we have with the Hispanic Chamber here as a community as well. So while you're here, we want you to enjoy everything that we have to offer. We're particularly elated that you are here within our community. Given some of the noise that has happened around the visitations here and travel advisories against coming to do conferences here, I want you to understand that my family and I and all of those employees and the 1.5 million people who call Orange County home are just elated that you're here because of what you're doing. It signifies something to us that you're in support of what we're doing here, and you help to contribute to our overall tourism economy, which, by the way, is an $87.6 billion industry here. So you understand it is all about mucho dinero. So with that, let me just say thank you, gracias, muchas gracias, for being here today. I appreciate and love all of you. God bless.
I think this is gonna work.
Small businesses, like this learning center,
There's only one way to find out.
help communities thrive. That's why Wells Fargo has donated roughly $420 million to diverse small business owners.
Back to Alpha. Grant?
When a bank does what it says,
Okay, look. Those lights on, guys.
Small businesses can reach new heights. Doing gets it done. Wells Fargo, the bank of doing.
Distinguished colleagues, welcome Head of Hispanic Latino Affairs, Wells Fargo, Patty Juarez.
Buenos días. Los oigo muy desganados. Somebody spent too much time partying last night, and 8 in the morning came too quick. I was like, where's everybody? My name is Patty Juarez. Thank you for the introduction, the voice of God. The head of Hispanic and Latino Affairs for Wells Fargo. First of all, I want to acknowledge my amazing team, our Wells Fargo colleagues, tables 17 and 18, particularly the wonderful Lester Romero and Joe Trimble, who were in charge of our activation here. So tonight, at our party, at our activation, you're all invited. Thank them, because they're responsible for all of what's going on here. I wanted to introduce myself and tell you a little bit about what I do. I've been in this role for just a few months, and people are like, well, so what do you do? And so I thought I'd share with you a little bit about my new role as head of Hispanic and Latino Affairs. So first of all, this role was put into place by Charlie, our CEO, and the operating committees, the board of directors, because they saw a need to really elevate the work that we're doing with the Hispanic and Latino community as they saw the growth in our business of the Hispanic consumer, our small business, Hispanic customers, et cetera. It's growing, and it's an unbelievable opportunity that the bank can't refuse to pass up or not do well. And so they said, well, how do we do that? Well, we've got to ensure that we're helping customers achieve their financial goals, and how do we do that? Well, we got to make sure that we're taking care of our customers. So I make sure that all of our lines of business have strategies around our Hispanic and Latino clients, and I focus on our customers, help them put together either new products or programs that help our community. And so I'm really happy, and that's really just one of the 3 areas of focus that I work on. The second area is my colleagues. So as you can see here, we have great Latino representation at Wells Fargo. I'm happy to report that Latinos are about 18% of our company. That is the largest minority group that we have in the company, and growing, by the way, because our incoming employees, 20% of them are Hispanic. So as you can see, yes, we have a lot to be proud of. We have a lot of, for the first time, like in many years, Hispanics are graduating from college at a higher rate than any other group in the country. And so you can see that based on all the demographics, that the Latino talent pool will continue to expand. So my role is to help Wells Fargo ensure that we're represented not just as 18% of the company, but 18% or something close to it at the upper echelons of the company. That's not reality today, and it's something that I'm really focused on. And then the third area that I focus on is our community, is being here with all of you guys next week and every month to come, not just during Hispanic Heritage Month, but during the entire year. I partner with national organizations such as the USHCC to support the work that they do in supporting our Latino businesses, over 4 million. So I sit on the board of directors. Where's the board of directors? Shout out to the board of directors. Christine, my mentor. Everybody, we have a wonderful and engaged board. We met yesterday, and we have just outstanding plans for this organization. And I'm just really lucky to be part of it. USHCC has been an organization that I've always admired, just because they are able to really help small businesses, medium-sized businesses, all the businesses really achieve their goals. I also come from a proud background of being part of chambers. I saw some of our local chambers. Many of you are here. I was a local chamber leader. I was the president of the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the board chair, not the president. Ruben Franco's the president, he's here. But I was board chair for a few years. I also was I am still part of their board development work, so just happy to be here. But the best thing about my job is that I get to work with a colleague that you may all love and know, and his name's Ruben Barrales. And I want to invite him up to the stage to be with us here. And I just want to thank you. Please join us at our reception tonight. Have a great time at this convention. It's always one of my favorites, and I hope you take the opportunity to say hello to us tonight. And now you get to hear from my favorite partner in crime here, Ruben Barrales.
Thanks, Patty. Thank you.
Yes, of course.
It's so great having Patty in her new role at Wells Fargo focused on Latino segment. Patty, you actually forgot something back there. I think it fell out of your purse. It's a check for $100,000 that Wells Fargo is donating to the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, specifically to go to local chambers of commerce where we know the work gets done. And so I want to acknowledge those chambers that will be receiving part of this. I think we split it up with an X-Acto knife or something, getting cut appropriate pieces. So the Hispanic Chamber of San Francisco, congratulations. Welcome. The Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I know Ruben's here. The Seattle Latino Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce. Gracias. The Arizona Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Arizona's in the house. Fort Worth Hispanic Chamber. Oh, fantastic. The Greater Irving Chamber of Commerce. All right, they had a great event. They had a great event this weekend as well, I understand. Colorado Hispanic Chamber. Yes. Mile High. Chamber of Commerce of Palm Beach County. And the Florida Hispanic or American Chamber of Commerce. Florida Hispanic American. El Paso Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I know they're here. Los Angeles Latino Chamber. I know they're here as well. And the South Florida Hispanic Chamber. Congratulations to all of you. We're really proud to provide this support for technical assistance to the Latino small businessmen and women who really make our economy work. So thank you all for all that you're doing. Patty, you know the Wells Fargo reception is by invitation only tonight. Oh. So you can't just invite everybody. So, but if you want an invitation, just ask Patty or me and we'll give one to you. Everyone have a great conference. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I'll do your hand away.
Now, please welcome our featured speaker, USHCC's Board of Directors, Raul Salinas.
Good morning, everyone. As a lawyer representing international clients, I often say that commerce knows no borders. And that's because I've seen it on both sides of the United States and the Mexican border and throughout Latin America. Let me just share with you two quick bullet points. Bullet point number one, the purchasing power of the Latino market, if it was expressed in terms of gross domestic product, GDP, it ranks at $3.2 trillion, making it the fifth largest economy in the world. And second, for the first time ever, Mexico has surpassed China as U.S. largest trading partner. That's a big round of applause right there. We know how to earn it, and we know where to spend it, right? As part of the USHCC International Growth Strategy, yesterday, we launched our first two international track panels on how to do business in Mexico and how to learn about nearshoring and how to surf it. And we're also hitting the road, engaging in our first ever trade mission with Mexico in collaboration with the Department of Commerce. So we're so excited about expanding our scope internationally. We look forward to all of your engagement as we take it out onto the road and head south, and we look for all the opportunities that come with it for our members and the businesses, and we hope you will join us. Thank you very much.
Gracias, Raul. Welcome to the stage, President and CEO, Travel and Leisure, Mike Brown.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. How about that national anthem, Jill? I don't know about you, but I was full after that national anthem. I thought the day is only extra, so thank you very much for that. And thank you, Mayor, for all your leadership in this great city. I love to always as well give a thank you to Ramiro. When we were talking about coming to Orlando, we talked about the great economic power that the city offers, the growth in the city, 1,000 new residents every week. And I'm not sure that he was convinced, and then we said 85 and sunny in late September. And I think that was it for Orlando. One other thing Ramiro said is everyone loves a check presentation, and I'd like to thank Wells Fargo for that great check presentation. But what everyone loves more than a great check presentation is a gift to everyone in the audience. So before I'm done in 2 minutes, everyone here will have a gift from Travel and Leisure to each of you. I thought that might get 1 or 2 applauses. But before I do that, I'd like to thank 2 other groups. First of all, I'd like to thank Gabby, the leader here in Central Florida for the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I've been a member of the board for a very short time, but I can tell you that I've seen a dramatic change to the Hispanic business community here in Central Florida with growth and power and presence, and I'd like to thank Gabby for that. Okay. And lastly, I'd like to thank, within Travel and Leisure, we have a diverse resort group called Fuerte. At Travel and Leisure, what's important to us is not for it to be a program, but a culture that we live and we embody every day. This group is the leader of that group, and I'd like to thank our Fuerte group as well. And before, okay. So today it's my pleasure on behalf of Travel and Leisure, where our mission is to put the world on vacation, is to start in this room, as well as to each of your member constituents back at your Hispanic Chamber of Commerce in your town. In the Expo Hall, which apparently is sold out and with added space this year, we're offering a Hispanic travel club, launching it today. For everyone here in the audience, there's no obligation. It's completely free. All you literally need to go there is to put your email down. And for those of you who like expensive, full retail, and limited choice travel clubs, this is not the product for you. This has great travel on behalf of Travel and Leisure, and all you need to do is go to the expo and put your email down, and that's literally it, and you'll have a free membership to the club. Anyways, I'd like to welcome everyone to Orlando. Have a great conference on behalf of Travel and Leisure.
For 50 years, Travel and Leisure has been putting the world on vacation. Now we're going further than ever before, uniting the world's most influential travel brand with our global reach, expertise, and hospitality with heart, offering extraordinary experiences curated by the world's most trusted travel brand. Explore like never before. Broaden your horizons. Take the trip of a lifetime. Every time. At Travel and Leisure, we believe in finding your perfect place. From home to there and back again. We are Travel and Leisure.
Honored guests, here to lead our discussion, the impact of Latinos on corporate boards, is USHCC board member Victor Arias, followed by our distinguished panelists.
Good morning. Buenos dias. It's good to see everybody. Wanted to talk about the importance of board of directors. It's an area that we can truly impact the lives of this country, the lives of Latinos, because at that level, you are governing large organizations, and there's an ability to kind of create opportunities within the organization for all. So we need to talk about that. We have been increasing our representation over time. That's the good news. George and I have been tracking this for a long time, but for the last 15 years, I think we were at 1.5% representation. At best, we're at 5% representation of total seats. And yeah, that's a large increase, but it's still a paltry number compared to the fact that we're 20% of the population. And in terms of economic power, Latinos create and consume so much in terms of products and services. And it just, in so many ways, it's not truly fair and representative. But we hope there's changes. And so it's my honor to have these two colleagues up here, both with Travel and Leisure on their board. And the first one, the person to my left here, is Lucinda and Martinez. She's been a director at Travel and Leisure. Before that, she had formed her own marketing company, consulting company called Lumark. And prior to that, she spent in an executive role 1 year at Netflix. Before that, 20 years at Warner Media. The most recent one was Executive Vice President for Brand Marketing, a very important and influential role. And so it's great that for Travel and Leisure that they were able to get her on their board. She's also on the board of trustees of Alvin Ailey Dance Theater, which is an incredible organization. And she's also on an advisory board for the Hispanic Scholarship Fund. And she got her degree at Columbia University. And so please welcome Lucinda Martinez.
Thank you, gracias.
And to her left is a good friend, George Herrera. He's very shy, so just be careful with George. He's not a stranger to USHCC because he actually ran the organization as president and CEO from 1998 to 2004, made a lot of impact at USHCC, and he's a current board member at Travel and Leisure, but he has many years of experience, governance experience with different organizations, eventually leading to Travel and Leisure. He is a graduate from Wharton at University of Pennsylvania. He tells me I couldn't, just because I went to Stanford, I couldn't get into Wharton, so he's always giving me a hard time. So please welcome our good friend, George Herrera. So we're going to spend some time here. The first minute, I'm going to ask you each to talk about your backgrounds and years of governance. And so actually, let's go and start with that, with you, Lucinda.
Well, I started in consumer packaged goods. I think that was my first job out of college, and I wanted to go to law school. But that's when I realized that my parents were broke. I didn't realize my parents were broke until I graduated, and I had to take out loans, and to me, that was insurmountable. So I decided I was going to go to work and then come back, took the LSAT, and then I'll come back and apply to law school. Well, that started in a career in consumer packaged goods at Avon, that then turned into 25-year media career. And then I started to explore the possibilities of, after doing so many operational roles, that there was a way that I could add value on a corporate board. And that trajectory, after almost 30 years, I started to interview for many positions. And what attracted me to travel and leisure, it's not just, that's also my passion. I felt like there was a lot of correlation between media. I always felt like when I was creating campaigns for HBO and working on Game of Thrones and all, that job was really to have you, take you away into these imaginary worlds. That's what television does. That's what good movies does. That's what the good content does. So I felt like there was a lot of correlation between that and actual travel. And we know that consumers that over-index on entertainment also over-index on travel. So I felt like there was some affinity there. But when, like you mentioned, like forget the low representation of Latinos on boards for women, it's even smaller.
Yes.
So when I was looking at opportunities, I realized that for me, it's a two-way conversation. And you know when someone's interviewing just because you might just be Latino and not really looking at what you could add value. And that was not the case when I met Mike Brown and I met this board with Jorge being there. Yeah. So it was a pleasure, and it's been so great experience to be part of this board.
It's a great story. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Lucinda. George, you have many, many years. Just, a brief snippet of how you got to where you got.
I was president and CEO of the USHCC from '98 to 2004. And in 2004, I had the pleasure of meeting Henry Silverman. Henry was the CEO of a company called Send It, which was a Fortune 40 company, about a $42 billion a year company. And Send It owned Avis, Orbitz, Jackson Hewitt, Coldwell Banker, Century 21, so on and so forth. And the ex-Secretary of Defense, William Cohen, was resigning from their board. And I got a call from Henry. Henry asked me, George, I think you'd be a perfect individual to join our board. I didn't know much about, a public company board service at the time. I learned very quickly that I became the youngest Hispanic ever appointed to a Fortune 40 board. At that time, in 2004. I was 47 years old at the time. And I joined the Sending Board. And 2 years from there, we decided that we would break the company up into different public sector companies. And the hospitality division became Wyndham Worldwide. I was asked to join the board at Wyndham Worldwide, which I did. And that took us to 2018. And in 2018, we decided to break up Wyndham Worldwide into Wyndham Hotels and Resorts and Wyndham Destinations. And I was asked to join the board of Wyndham Destinations, and I sit on Wyndham's board since 2008. I've chaired the Corporate Governance Committee, so it's a committee that does a lot of oversight on areas of importance to many of you in the audience, and that being supplier diversity, philanthropy, corporate governance, quite obviously, and it was about two, and I've been blessed to have fantastic CEOs that I never had to try to convince them that diversity and inclusion was important. They understood it, they got it, and they all said, I'm gonna own it, I'll drive it straight down, George, help me get there. And now with the leadership of Mike Brown, who you just saw here this morning, about a couple of years ago, I've always been a staunch advocate of expanding and more inclusion for Latinos, particularly Latinas on corporate boards. And we had a conversation and we said, well, we'd love to add a Latina or a person of color, female person of color to our board. And Mike right away said, yeah, okay, come on, let's make it happen. And initially the conversation was, well, we don't have a vacancy. And I said, well, let's do what the good old white guys do. Let's add another board seat. I said, I know how the game is played. So I said, if you want to bring one of your guys onto the board, why don't we have a conversation of expanding our board and adding another board seat and finding a qualified individual who I had no doubt we had in our community. And here's Lucinda Martinez.
Claro que sí.
Okay.
Great.
So that's kind of my journey and my advocacy for continued inclusion in the corporate boardroom, particularly for my Latinas, in that I was raised by my mom. I have 2 sisters, and I'm married with 3 daughters, so I know who rules the world.
Great. total agreement with you, George. But, their stories are typical. You have to have strong professional achievement to even get into the game. And so you both have that, and so that's tremendous. So Lucinda, why is it important in terms of governance and board roles? Why is it that the representation of Latinos on those boards important to you, but also why is it important to travel and leisure?
I think it's, well, first of all, I'm Latina, proud Latina, so that's an easy answer to that. But also I recognize that it's important that we, as we grow and as we expand, that we bring us with us, right? And I find that throughout my career, there were a lot of people that were comfortable being the only one in the room, and that when there is an opportunity, pick up the phone and tell someone, oh, I have someone in my network that I think would be excellent. And a lot of times I realized throughout my career, and we have felt this, where you don't necessarily get opportunities, right? And you get chances, and there's kind of a difference. There's a difference between what feels like an opportunity and what feels like a chance. And I've always wanted to own that I want the opportunities that give me visibility in my career. I want the opportunities that give me the stretch assignments. And then I want to be able to give those same opportunities and those assignments to the people I'm mentoring on my team and that I'm bringing up. So I think it's important. Representation matters, but we also have to own that part of ourselves. Mm-hmm. And not waiting for someone outside to make it happen, but we have to do it for ourselves. And George is an excellent example of that.
Yeah.
Porque we can't, what do they say? You can't clap with one hand, right? So necesitamos más manos.
So George, same question to you. Why is it important for increasing representation of Latinos for you personally, but also why for travel and leisure?
Well, I think it's important that, our company reflects our customer base, right? If we're good enough to come and buy timeshare from us, if we're good enough to come and stay at our resorts, then we should be good enough to sit in the boardroom. We should be good enough to have executive senior leadership positions within the organization and ensure that at a board level, there's always a conversation that includes our community, where we talk about, some of the issues that confront our communities, give our perspectives. We come to the table with different behavioral conditioning, right, with different perspectives on issues. And again, I have always been blessed to be on companies that have been led by CEOs that understood that understood the importance of understanding our customer base and ensuring that our organization was very reflective of those people that are willing to spend the dollars with us. So, if we're good enough to do business with you, then, we should be good enough to be able to be represented within the corporation.
Yeah, thank you, George. This ecosystem is really large. Ecosystem of the boardroom, getting people on the board, influencers in that area. It could be search firms. It could be institutional investors, the watchdogs. It could be a whole host of other people, law firms that specialize in governance. Where do you think we should be focusing our time in terms of trying to influence that process? Because again, also, search firms only do 1/3 of all the open seats. The rest are done the old-fashioned way. So there's just a lot of ways to kind of push that envelope. So George, you've been in this game for a long time. What do you think?
Look, I've been a proponent. If many of you go to YouTube and search Insider Game 1 and Insider Game 2. Those are two 15-minute documentaries done 10 years ago that talk about the evolution of the Latino Corporate Directors Association. I said 10 years ago that our community was failing us. Our leaders are failing us because we do not have a tactical plan to unlock the doors within corporate America's boardrooms. We keep throwing out this demographical data and information, and it's all great, believe me. Como un Latino, Boricua, Chileno, I enjoy that our population numbers are big, that we have $2 trillion of purchasing power. First off, we can't coalesce that purchasing power. It's unfortunate, but we have to be realistic. We don't have the ability of coalescing $2 trillion to use that as a vehicle to force 800 of the companies in the Fortune 1000 that have 0 Latino board representation, okay? Because we cannot sit here, and if I asked you to raise your hand, if I asked you, how many of you use Amazon, have ever used Amazon? You are all gonna raise your hand, you're gonna continue to use Amazon, and they don't have a Latino on their board of directors. Okay, they don't have a Latino on the board. So when you keep throwing this demographical stuff out to these 800 CEOs that don't have a Latino on their board, they really don't care. So what we need to do is we need a national economic blueprint that can be coalesced by our Latino leaders. They need to come into a room, they need to check their egos. We all know you guys are great. We know everybody, and we know that you are all well-intentioned. You need to come in, prioritize 3 agenda items that you can agree and coalesce around, and drive that mission, and drive it. But we need someone to step up to the plate to take ownership of creating this national economic blueprint for Hispanic empowerment in the United States. I said it in 2000, I said it in 2010, and we keep reading reports. We just got missing pieces. It was just issued by Deloitte. They do it every 2 years, and it says Hispanic board representation has been stagnant since 2004. In the last 2 years, our representation went from 4.1% to 4.7%, 0.6%. So obviously, we need to have a tactical plan that you're gonna drive it and own it. Now, yo estoy viejito, so there's a lot of great leaders like Ramiro and other people out there, but you guys need to coalesce. You need to come together, and you need to drive a tactical plan. No strategic planning. It has to be tactical, where you get three things that you're gonna do, and you're gonna drive it, and you're gonna stand united. Because unfortunately, the viability of national Hispanic organizations in America depends 100% on corporate America. So you're gonna start going after that company that writes a check to you? No, I don't think you are. Would an organization take a $2 million check from Amazon if they don't have a Latino on the board, or would you tell them no? Now, I did return a check to Ford Motor Company in 2002 for $300,000 that resulted in them then cutting a check for $3.5 million to me. But that's a whole nother story. But I think that we need a national tactical plan that's centered around a national economic blueprint for Hispanic empowerment in America.
Thank you. Totally agree, George. And so the firm that I'm with, we contributed to that Deloitte study. The missing pieces were part of the ABD, the Alliance for Board Diversity. And so totally agree with that. We're just in a very different position today than we were even 10 years ago. And so I think the possibilities of doing what you're saying are greater today, but we should be focused on that. So Lucinda, and you've seen this, you know how this game is played as well. What's the one thing that you would recommend to kind of increase the number of Latinas or Latinos in the boardroom? What do you think is an important
I think we want to be present, that's an opportunity. Like, for me, it wasn't even something I was exploring. That was an option outside of my career. So I think is you want to be really intentional, that you want to serve on a board. You want to be really intentional about which are the kind of boards that you could add value to and what experience you could bring to the boards, and have those conversations. Explore those search firms that are doing it. Goldman Sachs was the first, it was due to George Floyd. They were the first ones to make an announcement that they would not invest in any companies that did not have a diverse board. And then they created a pipeline program for individuals to join that. And basically it's almost like a training on board service, and then partner with executive firms to help you be placed on boards. So there are opportunities like those that exist, but actually just be aware that that's a path and something that we should be looking for if you're interested.
Sure, no. I'm gonna give each of you a few seconds here just as closing comments based on this whole theme, because we could spend all day here. Mm-hmm. So, George, just closing comments on this whole topic.
Well, as I said, I think that, we really need to be able to coalesce around a tactical plan that's going to allow us to be able to go to these 800-plus companies that don't have a Latino board and be able to articulate the value-added proposition to them as to why it is important for them to consider. I think we should coalesce leaders. I don't want to throw Mike out there, but like Mike, and there's maybe about you can correct me, Victor, maybe about 117 or 20 Fortune 100 companies that have at least 2 Hispanics on their board. Right. Well, why don't we go to those CEOs and ask them to become our advocates? Why don't we maybe develop an advisory board, maybe comprised of 5 or 10 of those CEOs, and those CEOs can start talking to the 800 CEOs that don't have a Hispanic board and share with them why it's such a value for them respectively to have 2 Latinos on their board of directors or other people of color or diverse gender boards, right? So I think we're not using, that base, effectively. So I would try to coalesce, those CEOs in corporate America that have already demonstrated a commitment to our community and ask them, would you stand with us visibly on stage and help us, knock on these other doors of these 800-plus Fortune companies that don't have Latinos on the board? And also in closing we need more Latinos in the C-suite. We need to grind and we need to get more Latinos into the C-suite that can develop the necessary skill sets that a lot of these board of directors, are looking for. And I think that that's important, that's an area that we need to start to take a look at in driving more, Hispanics into C-suite positions, because that's a viable and a good entry into potential corporate board seats.
Thank you, George. Lucinda?
Yeah, and I would echo and add to that it's finding the common ground, right? Latinos, I always like to say, Latino we're not a race. We're a condition, I like to say. So the issue is that, remember, the Hispanic was a term that was coined by the census. That didn't exist. And then we became Latino, and then we became Latinx, right? So really what's the commonality, to your point? What are the 3 things that Latinos across the board would be good for all of us to be part of, and remove the regionality? What's good for el Mexicano, el Dominicano? Like, remove the regionality. Like, this lack of representation in corporate America is a problem. The lack of any sort of respect for our purchasing power is a problem. So it's true, like, we have to figure out a way to break these down into 3 things that we want. We all speak from the same, it's like a marketing campaign, right? So what's the messaging? What's the narrative? What are the 3 things that, regardless of where we are, is important to us? That representation matters to us, and make that happen, and let's coalesce around that, because otherwise, nunca vamos para adelante.
That's right. So look, in closing, I just want to thank our panelists, but also just remind everybody that this is a path that's better than it was, and folks like George and Lucinda have opened up pathways for many of us. I agree that for corporate America, it's about having more C-suite representation there, and the only way we do that is to touch the revenue stream, run P&Ls, run businesses. And nothing against staff roles, whether it's HR or otherwise, but go touch the revenue stream, and that's really important. I've been doing this searches for boards for many, many years. And the other thing is, you can't be everything to everybody. You got to be good at what you do and be known as the expert. So really focus in on your brand, your own personal brand, and touch people like Mike. I mean, there are great CEOs that really understand the economic importance of Latinos and what they mean to their businesses. And so we have to educate others or get armed with data. So with that, I want to thank our panelists. Please give them a round of applause.
Gracias.
And we're going to close this session out, and hopefully you saved me something to eat for breakfast. I don't need it. But anyway, please enjoy the conference, go to the expo, go to the breakouts, have a great time, and get to network with each other. Okay, thank you.
Gracias.
Gracias.